Hi friends, it's Renee Pickens here, bringing you day 3 of 5 minutes of good in April. And today I want to talk about flourishing. And you might be thinking, Renee, we're in the middle of a global crisis. We're in the middle of a pandemic. I just want to survive right now. I don't have the energy to flourish. I'm not ready for that. And you know what? I feel you. Today, I have not been flourishing. I had a pretty bad headache that took me out for most of the day. Yeah, as some of you may remember from day 1, I am 14 weeks pregnant. And apparently all this extra blood rushes around your body when you're pregnant, and so not only do you have the hormones that make you feel nauseous and sick, but you also have extra blood that can give you really quite bad headaches. So that was me today. I was just in survival mode all day. I was just trying to make it through, trying to be as productive as possible, but I didn't really succeed, if I'm truly honest. So I hear you. It has taken a lot for me to get here tonight. So when we talk about flourishing, I get it. I know that we're not really there right now. But I want to tell you tonight that you were made for a life of flourishing. Some of you really might need to hear that right now, because our current situation, it's not forever. It's temporary. And even amongst this mess, you were made to flourish. You were made to come out on top. There's this story in the Bible that Jesus tells, and it's a parable. So a parable is like a fable. It's like, it's a story that's not necessarily true about like a real person in a real time, but it's used as an illustration to get a point across. So Jesus tells this story about a sower, about a farmer who's sowing seed on his soil. And obviously in those days they didn't have big machinery to do that work for them, so they all had to do it by hand. And he talks about how the seed falls on different types of soil. So some of it actually falls on the path where people are walking, and as they walk on the seed, it gets crushed, and then the birds come down and eat the seed. And then some of it falls on the rocky ground. Maybe it's along the path there where it's a bit harder and it's a bit rocky and it hasn't been cultivated well. And it starts off okay, it can germinate, but because the roots can't go down deep, because the soil is hard, then it just kind of withers away. It never really takes root and grows properly. And then the third seed falls on the thorny soil. Now the thorny soil, it takes root, it starts to grow and it starts to come up, but you know what else is growing right beside it? The thorns. So before it has a chance to produce any fruit, any good fruit, the thorns suffocate it, and it doesn't make it to its full potential. It doesn't flourish. And then finally there is some seed that falls on really good soil and produces a lot of the good fruit that the farmer has intended. So Jesus goes on to explain this parable, and he says the seed is the word of God, and he goes on to describe the different types of soil, but tonight I really quickly want to focus on what he says about the thorny soil. He says the seed that fell among thorns stands for those who get choked by life's worries, by riches and pleasures, and they do not mature. They choke. They never really bear any fruit. They never really flourish. And this story can be found in Luke chapter 8 for those that are interested. Now, I have this plant here. I have my plant with me today. I'm really excited because, sadly, this is my last remaining house plant. And one of my sisters gave it to me for Christmas this year. And it's like probably plant people are probably looking at it going, it's still not 100% healthy, but I have a confession to make. I'm a wannabe plant lady, but I'm actually a secret plant killer. Like, I've had so many plants and they all die. This is the last remaining plant left, and I just hope that it survives, because look, it's in such a pretty pot, and my sister gave it to me. But I guess I don't really provide the right environment for plants to flourish. And I don't know if I give them too much water, or if it's not enough sunlight, or I don't put them in the right places. I don't know what it is, but I just do not provide the right environment for plants to flourish. And right now we might be thinking that we're not in the right environment for us to flourish. But what does God tell us through this story of the seed and the soil and the plants? He says what really chokes us is life's worries. It's us being so concerned with the things of the world, like riches and pleasure. And I would even say comfort is a big one right now. You know, we talked about last night. These are the things that prevent us from flourishing. Our hearts, in the midst of an imperfect environment, can still be really good soil. And I want to tell you tonight, you were made for a life of flourishing. You were made to experience the fruitfulness that brings good to our world. And to help us do that, I just want you to maybe do a little challenge before I leave you and think about 3 questions tonight. I want you to think, number 1, what are you excited about? Number 2, where do you feel a bit of fear? And number 3, what areas of your life do you want to flourish? I hope that helps you tonight. I hope that meditating and thinking about these things will help you get through and help you understand that you were made to flourish. You're good, you are kind, and I'll see you next time. Bye.